Good day. This is Ray. Today is Saturday, August 27th, 2022. For me, another day of social distancing. Hope that you, your family, friends, and loved ones are doing well, staying safe, and back home briefly after picking up my groceries this morning. I actually have a few errands I need to run today, and want to go ahead and just get them out of the way because I'm not sure how I'm going to be feeling later on today. I can already tell it might be a little bit of an iffy day. My hands hurt this morning. My feet hurt a little bit. Fortunately, though, the only thing I'm going to have to do today is to go and make some donations, which is, today it's just going to be light stuff. It's going to be containers that I have left over from the move. And then I have to run to pick up some medications, and I may have to make one more stop, but that'll be it. I'll be done before noon. Right now it's 7:45, and picked up my groceries at 7:30. So I don't live very far from the grocery store, which is very good. Before I get into what I'm going to talk about today, I just wanted to kind of recap the week. So I guess this was sort of a normal week. Started work on Monday. Felt decent. I can't exactly recall how I was feeling. I mean, I didn't have a rough week physically, so that's a win for me. Really towards the end of the week is when I, started to go downhill a little bit and dealing with some joint pain. But, the good thing is I didn't vomit or anything. I didn't feel nauseous, which sometimes happens, from dealing with a lupus flare. The prednisone that I took this week was 5 milligrams. Last week I was taking 10 milligrams, so cut back down on that. And hopefully at some point I'll be completely off prednisone. I don't really care to be on steroids, and long-term effects of steroid usage is not good. Financially, this week was a little bit rough. Still trying to play catch up after becoming a homeowner. I closed on my townhome in December, moved in January, had a lot of things done, place painted, had to get appliances, had to pay for the move and all that. So it was a lot of money. And then I got hit with the tax bill, wiped out my emergency fund, which is what I'm going to talk about today. So even before I talk about that, let me talk about where I've been and what's happened over the past few years that really sort of wrecked me financially. I drove me further into financial debt, consumer debt in particular. Is I was hospitalized 6 times within a 2-year period. I didn't really fully understand my insurance, so I didn't take advantage of some of the things that I had, such as a health reimbursement account. Didn't even know I had that. And I didn't do the incentives necessary to put money into that HRA account. So a lot of the stuff was coming out of pocket. So my deductible was $1,600, completely out of pocket. My out-of-pocket maximum, $4,600. Medications don't count towards the deductible. So, a lot of that was just money out of the pocket. 2 years in a row, I met my out-of-pocket maximum. And for 2 years after that, I met my deductible. And I'm probably going to meet my deductible this year. I have a doctor's appointment coming up soon, so I'm going to meet that. That's going to happen. On top of being hospitalized the 6 times, I moved cross country at the last minute. So I pretty much had less than a month to move cross country. Got a few quotes on the move, and that was a couple $1,000s out of pocket. And so right there, I had to break a lease. So right there, you're talking about close to $15,000 right there. I did not have that money. I didn't have a buffer. I was living paycheck to paycheck. I had only moved out west maybe a year and a half before all this happened. So I didn't have the reserves to be able to do something like this. I wasn't even really thinking about having a emergency fund. So it was June or July of last year that I really started to understand an emergency fund, thanks to Brad at ZeroDebtCoach.com, and the importance of having an emergency fund. My thought was I was going to pay down my debt just throwing money at it, any excess money I had to pay down the debt. That was my thought. What I learned from Brad was that it's more important to, of course, learn how to budget, number one, but to have an emergency fund. Because, the goal is not to go backwards into debt. That emergency fund is there for in cases of emergency. And I'm the walking example of dealing with emergencies and having to face emergencies. So I definitely, initially, I had a hard time understanding that, because I was like, I just want to pay down my debt, want to get out of debt, want to be out of debt. And that's definitely still a goal. But having an emergency fund helps not go backwards into the debt cycle, to go further into debt. So at the time this year, I had an emergency fund of $5,000. And then I got hit with the tax bill, federal and state, and I was like, okay, well, there goes that. That's pretty much wiped that out. It's inconvenient, yeah, because at the same time, I was in the process of paying down debt in an accelerated mode. I was throwing pretty much any excess money I had towards paying down debt. That slowed down, but I am still going forward with my debt pay down. If only it's the minimum payment I have on loans. I don't have any credit card debt. I don't have any, medical debt per se. It's all consolidated. I don't have an auto loan, so I'm able to, make those payments. But any excess money I have is going towards an emergency fund, going towards my savings, because I want to build that emergency fund. I want it to be a buffer. I want it to be at 10,000, to be honest. I have a little ways to go for that to happen. But really, that's my focus. That's going to be where my excess money from my budget's going to go. Now, I don't make a lot of money. I'm not rich or anything like that. I'm doing okay. But I would say about 83% of my take-home pay is going towards living expenses. That's housing, HOA, internet. I don't have cable. I do have a streaming app. It's very cheap. Auto insurance. Let me see. Well, loans and stuff like that. That's where 83% of my money is going towards. And I have to, the rest is going towards prescriptions, food, fuel, things like that. And then whatever I have left over is going towards my emergency fund. I'm very serious about that. And I feel good when I'm able to put money towards that, because then it's like I know that I'm working towards that goal. I'm working toward getting that emergency fund back, having that buffer just in case something happens. And like I said previously, I do have credit cards, but I don't see that as an emergency fund, because that's just going to put me further back into debt. And, I have to pay that down, and then I accrue interest on that. And that's just I'm not trying to have that at all. I only use my credit cards for the points. And when I, have those points, I can use that towards groceries, towards fuel and stuff like that. That's cool, but I pay that off before my statement's due. So I don't accrue interest on it. totally different mindset than when I had before. This is not the way I was thinking beforehand. I was just tracking my finances, tracking every penny that I spent. That is a part of budgeting, yes, but ultimately budgeting is knowing what you're going to do with your money before you even spend it, assigning that money to do what it's supposed to do. And so I'm grateful now that I think this way. It's a totally different mindset. When I go to the grocery store, I don't have impulse buying. It's not even part of my vocabulary anymore. I don't go into the store and I see something like, oh, you know what? I think I need that. If I don't budget for it, I don't buy it. And, I've been getting rid of a lot of stuff. I'm going to try to be a minimalist and have only the things that I need, and ultimately be able to be in a position to be able to help others. That's my goal in life. So, hopefully anything I said helps you. Later videos, I'll try to have a visual representation of what that looks like. Having an emergency fund, having budgeting, and all those things. I'm not a financial guru. I'm not an expert at this. I'm just trying to learn. One of my next goals is to be a meal planner. And that's one of the hardest things I'm trying to figure out right now. Really, I don't want to get ahead of myself and try to meal plan for a week. I want to meal plan for a day. It's like, okay, the night before, it's like, what am I going to have for breakfast? Okay, what am I going to have for lunch? What am I going to have for dinner? And each day get into that habit. And then ultimately get into the habit of being able to meal prep for a week. That's definitely my next goal, is to get good at that. I don't eat out. It's very rare that I do, which is a huge win for me because it's not in my budget, for one thing, to eat out. I just don't have the money for it. And but I suck at meal planning. Like I'm horrible. I'm terrible at it. Like it's just I suck at meal planning. I got my budget down. I can clean. I used to be a janitor back in the day. And but that's about it. I read a lot. And that's about all I got going for me. So I'm going to leave the video off on that depressing note. And if you made it this far, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications, when I post my next videos. As always, thank you for watching. You all take care.